Hi, everyone. We're going to get started in about 2 minutes. Just give people a couple minutes to get logged in. Thank you. Hi, everyone. Thank you for taking the time today to listen to our Marketing Design for Credit Unions in Mind webinar. Today, you'll learn what it takes to streamline branded marketing materials and promotional product delivery anywhere and anytime it's needed. Today, you will hear from our two distinguished panelists, Mandy DeHate, Associate Vice President at Visions Federal Credit Union, and Tony Johnson, Executive VP of Velocity.Print. Mandy wasn't able to be here today, but we have her recording from our last webinar, so you'll be hearing her in a recorded fashion. Our goal is to get through the information in about 30 minutes and leave time for about 10 minutes of Q&A. Feel free to type your questions into the chat window at any time during the presentation so that at the end we can address any questions that you have. With that, we'll turn it over to Mandy's recording. Thank you.
So Visions is a rather large credit union based here in upstate New York. We've been around for over 50 years, and we have more than 191,000 members with 47 offices in New York, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania. So as you can imagine, with offices being in such diverse locations, it can be a challenge when you have a centralized marketing department, which is in Endicott, New York, but we have offices and business development officers and team members that we need to meet that are across 3 different states. So some of the unique challenges that we face, the first one is based on our location. So our office happens to be within a branch, which is great. We couldn't get any closer to the members. So our office is on the 2nd floor, the branch operates the 1st floor, and we have storage space in the basement. So as we're ordering our promotional items and our swag and all those great things, we're having to receive them to a retail branch location. Now, that presents challenges all its own. Thankfully, my team is very fit at handling boxes and moving things. But I think the time the semi-truck pulled up with the pallet full of marketing items was really the eye-opener for me that we really need a better situation here. Luckily, my team, went out to the street and we handed boxes back and forth and got things moved into the building. But it just wasn't conducive to what we wanted to do. The second part of that being the storage. So we're receiving these orders to a large retail location, and then we're storing them in the basement. So we're constantly, grabbing this cart and that cart and taking things down to the basement store them, all these sorts of things. Then when it came time for distribution, as I said, we have 3 different states full of branches and business development officers. It was one of my employees' responsibilities, or multiple employees, to pick, package, and ship those orders. So I'm constantly hearing questions asked around the office like, who has a box big enough for Frisbees and coffee mugs and umbrellas? And we're out of packing tape. How can I seal up this box? And we need the bubble wrap. Do we have any bubble wrap left over? And where's the hand cart? Oh, it's got boxes on it. We're going to need to unload it. And then we can load it back up again. What time does the FedEx guy get here? And then my favorite question of all, the call that you get on Monday, can we get it there by Tuesday? So as you can imagine, as we're trying to fulfill all of our employees' needs, we've got a pretty big job on our hands. So in doing that, the timeliness of deliveries was really kind of suffering. We were doing the best that we could, but you have to understand that we have regular day-to-day marketing job duties as well, and it's really hard to be at the disposal of everybody that needs an order on their schedule. And also they have limited storage space, so it's not like I can send them cases and cases of materials to have on hand because they don't have the space either. So we needed a solution. And we needed a solution rather quickly. So we were fortunate enough that our struggles on the day-to-day were witnessed by our beloved Velocity sales rep, Tom Houston, and he kind of was scratching his head as he's watching us run around and grab carts and move boxes and, oh, where's so-and-so? Oh, they're in the basement. They're sorting out the latest order that came in. So we were already a very satisfied print services client with Velocity, and Tom said, I think I could make this a little easier on you guys. And at that point, we were more than happy to listen to his solution. And what he proposed to us was the braided storefront through Velocity. So I listened to what he had to say, and we talked about the time frame and how long it would take to set things up. And for us, it needed to be within a new budget year. So we were probably talking about this in the end of 2016 and wanting to get set up for budget year of 2017. So we could have those new funds to spend from and be able to budget accordingly. So within a few weeks of that conversation with Tom, we had worked with Velocity, and they were able to launch that custom storefront for us, and we were able to pass it on to our employees and our team members, knowing that everything was being warehoused and fulfilled by Velocity, and it was out of our hands, and we knew that it was being handled well. So to give you just a really quick before and after of how all this played out, before, our situation was we would wait for the order to arrive, we'd haul the boxes to the basement. One of my employees would take time out of their day to verify for quality and quantity. We'd have to find storage space, we'd have to unpack it, maybe repack it into something else. Anytime we had a request from one of our employees that's out, in New Jersey or Pennsylvania, we'd have to count it out, we'd have to find a box and package it and address it and ship it. And this could easily take 60 minutes out of somebody's day. Well, walk in that storefront and you've got it all. So all they need to do is log into the storefront, they fill your shopping cart as you would at any retail online shopping site, select the shipping address as to where it's going to, confirm and place the order, and you're done. This brought us down to about 6 minutes, which was just a very, very welcome solution. The results that we're seeing from this are really great. And just to run through the advantages of it, one thing that was important to us is to be able to manage the site permissions. So we wanted users to be able to order what they needed, but we didn't want every employee here at Visions to have permissions and be able to go in and order things. So we were able to set up the users that we wanted, and then we also broke it out into specific cost centers. So we would know how much the New Jersey team was spending versus how much the Pennsylvania team was spending. At the onset, we were able to input all of our shipping locations. So right from the beginning, 47 locations, all programmed in there. So when anyone is shopping, they can pick the location it needs to be shipped to. Very often here in marketing, we'll get an order for, let's say it's someone in the trust department. Well, they're not located where we are. So we can pick that location because it's programmed in there, and then we just maybe change the name to the trust person's name. We have Velocity doing the quality check and inventory monitoring for us. So there's never going to be a problem if the coffee mugs come in and the handle's broken off. Velocity Velocity is going to see that, they're going to check it, and they're going to get them restocked into the warehouse before we even know about it. When it comes time to auto reorder a product, we can set a minimum quantity on that. So let's say it's coffee mugs. That's a great example. When we get down to 50 coffee mugs, we can either set that product to auto reorder if that's a really hot item for us and we always need to have it in the storefront, or we can have it set to just give us a notice, be like, hey, you've only got 50 left. You might want to reconsider reordering, or in our mind, we know that's a product that we're not going to use again, we can let it run down to zero, and then it won't fall out of the storefront. It gave us so much more storage space. It's just wonderful to know that it's all in a climate-controlled, nice environment, being taken care of, and it's not us hauling it up and down the stairs or in the elevator here in the branch setting. The order history is phenomenal. I used that when it was time to order items for this year. We were able to look and see what items were ordered the most, what items were ordered the least, and then we could have the discussion with our team as far as, well, how come nobody used the chip clips? What was the reasoning on that? And we'd make sure we always had valuable items in the storefront for them to use. As I mentioned before about the permissions and the budgeting, that has worked out really well. We've had the storefront up for over a year, so all of 2017 and then now into 2018. So when it came time for me to set my budget for 2018, I had my employees pull a few reports to see which items were being used, how much each region was spending, and I was able to set regional budgets for the employees as well as getting those new items ordered for the upcoming year. Something that we found was very helpful to us, and Velocity has suggested it to us, is to include the cost of each item. It lets your user know the value of something, so we know that a pen costs less than a water bottle. But to them, it's really important for them to know, these water bottles that I'm handing out 50, 100 at a time cost the credit union $4, $5, $8, whatever it might be. So we wanted them to understand the cost of the items that they were using, and maybe they would think about things a little bit differently. If they were going to be in a crowd of 10,000 people, maybe they'd pick the chapstick to bring instead of those water bottles that were more costly items. And the custom reports were great. There were a few we had requested from Velocity along the way, and they were very fast at getting those implemented for us. And it really helped us when it came budget time to not only know the quantity of items that were being used and what we needed to reorder, but also from what areas and what the needs were specifically. In New Jersey, for some reason, they like light-up Piggy keychains. It's just something that they like down in that area, whereas in other areas, they may be more into highlighter pens and water bottles. But the best part of all of this is it's left my staff more time for other projects. So that employee isn't spending an hour or more a day downstairs sorting through and picking and packaging orders themselves. It's all being handled for us. And when it comes to the disadvantages, there really aren't any that I have to mention. Now, I can only speak for myself and my team, and obviously we're very thrilled with this process and the partnership, but this is just my example. Dave from Velocity is going to explain just how flexible their fulfillment services are, and I'm hoping that one of those examples, or even my example, will let you know what a great process this can be for you.
Thank you, Mandy. To get a demo or to learn more, please contact Tony Johnson.
Oh, thank you, Mandy. Mandy envisions Federal Credit Union. It's Tony Johnson here. Really are a great partner of Velocity's and one of many clients that we have using our marketing asset management platforms to streamline their business and ultimately save time and money. So today I'm going to cover three main areas in my presentation. So first, I'm going to do, and I think Mandy has already started on part of this, is I'm going to give you a better overview of what is marketing asset management, or as Mandy referred to it as the branded storefront. And then I'm going to cover 5 reasons why it's important. And then we're going to get a little more into the nuts and bolts of what's a marketing asset management system look like and how does it work. So first we'll get into what is marketing asset management, and just before I get into it too deep, I just want to warn you, I have a tendency to talk really fast. So if you do run into any questions, you get lost, if you want to ask any details, feel free to type in your questions in the chat session. We do have quite a few people on the webinar today, so hopefully we can cover those questions at the end. If you would like a more in-depth WebEx or something tailored to your specific business needs, please reach out. I'd love to put that together for you. But with that, we'll jump right into what is marketing asset management. So we defined marketing asset management, or MAM as we like to call it, as a fresh approach to describe the process of organizing, managing, and distributing marketing or other support material, usually out to a regional or national sales force, a distributor network, an employee base, multiple locations, etc. I know that's a mouthful, but I think it'll become clearer as we move on in the presentation. So the first big part of it, it's organization. What does your marketing tool shop look like? If it's looking like the picture on top and you can't find the screwdriver when you need it, you may need a system. And also the other piece is you got to really identify what are your marketing assets. They could be promotional products, such as wearables, incentive items, awards, giveaway items. They could be trade show products, so retractable banners, booths, table covers, literature holders, giveaway items, etc. And items in that trade show category, we look at those as two-way items. So we may be sending them out to your trade show, and when you're finished with the trade show, they may be coming back to our warehouse for future distribution. And when they come back, of course, they need to be inspected, make sure they're in good working order, nothing is soiled, it maybe needs to be cleaned. We'll take care of all of that along the way. Could be print materials such as brochures, postcards, deposit slips, letterhead, business cards, specials, anything you're looking to distribute. Or it could just be electronic files. So how much time goes into looking for where are the latest logos of the company? Are they in the right colors? Templates for memos and letterhead. So electronic files are definitely a part of that organization that we would put together in a marketing asset management system. So once you've got it organized, next you've got to control it. So who has access to your products? We want to make sure all of the right and relevant people can have access to your products, and if there's different permission levels that are needed. So maybe you've got a branch in Florida and there's specific Florida materials. They will only log in and see Florida materials. If you got a Northeast branch, same thing. We can make access personal and relevant to each user. Is there an approval process? So maybe one of the branches is going to be approved through a marketing group, or each branch manager is going to approve an order. If you want to be able to review every order before it's distributed, you'll be able to do that. And then how do you track budgets, cost centers, usage by branch, all part of a marketing asset management system. So we've organized it, we've got it under control, and now we've got to make everyone's life easy on both sides, both the user experience as well as the marketing team. So no longer you have to keep track of your inventory on a spreadsheet, and hopefully that spreadsheet's up to date and nobody snuck down into the warehouse or the supply closet and stole items out of it. No more having your staff consumed with searching for items and handling requests from branches on what products are available. Can you send me the brochure with the house on the front? There's 4 different brochures with the house on the front. No more supply closets. You don't have to worry somebody snuck in and took the mugs that are needed for the upcoming meeting. All of that's going to be controlled. And mostly now we're going to allow the users access to not only the products 24/7, but the tracking to go with it. So if you're worried about brochures for an upcoming meeting, you'll have live information that'll let you know when that order is going to be delivered. And you can track it real time, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So once you've got all of these pieces in place, Now you've got to learn from it. You've got the data, everyone's putting it in, and you've got to get some insight out of it. So who ordered what? Where did it go? How much did it cost? How much inventory did we use? So from that data, I can decide what's my optimal reorder point. I don't want to order so much that it's in the warehouse for 2 years, but I don't want to run out in 2 weeks either. And ultimately, the goal is save time and money. So those components are what makes up a marketing asset management system. And now we're going to get into some of the reasons it is important. So first, wasted time looking for files by the marketing staff. Probably the number one big time sucker that I see in my experience in putting together these systems. And the best thing I can say to you is go out and actually add up the time. Put together a simple spreadsheet. See how often someone on your staff is looking for the latest version of a file or the latest logos, or is this the latest logo? Is this the latest version? All of that's controlled through the system. How much is our marketing really costing us? So when you're looking at next year's budget, and you're trying to figure out how much did we spend on promo last year? How many pens did we go through? How many brochures were ordered? You'll have that information at your fingertips. You'll know what branches are using what products. What are your hot sellers or items that may be falling out of favor? 3, major marketing efforts are interrupted by nuisance requests. So a branch manager in Ohio and calls the marketing department and says, can you drop what you're doing and send me a PDF of the latest mortgage rate sheet, and while you're at it, update it to my phone number and put in the Ohio branch address, and I need it for a meeting tomorrow. So really, that's the most important thing at the time. But with the new system, you don't have to wait for tomorrow. With the marketing asset management system, this can all be done in real time. A proof instantly generated and a PDF file grabbed within minutes. A lack of storage and inventory management. This is where I wish Mandy was on the call with us today. This is not a picture of her basement, but I would say it looked very familiar to this, or similar to this, when I first went down and looked. It had numerous shelving with product all over it, and her team would run down there and fulfill requests and hope that the spreadsheet that they were keeping inventory on was accurate. And then they get down there and they're not a fulfillment house. They'll be looking for just the right size box. And then when everything's done, you got to recount it and make sure you update the inventory. And you got to send it out. You got to send the tracking out. All of that would be automated through the marketing asset management system. Branding consistency. So how many times has somebody used one of your logos, maybe printed it in the wrong color, it didn't come out correctly, it's inconsistent with corporate guidelines, they added a new tagline that they maybe thought was better than the one you have now. So we would lock down all of your brand consistency. Everything's going to be printed according to your corporate guidelines. So those are 5 key pieces of why a marketing asset management system is important. So next we're going to touch on the third part of my presentation, which is a little more the nuts and bolts of what's a system look like. So this is a very general look at it. Each system that we put together, we would come in and consult with you and go through a series of questions, and the system is built to your exact specifications. So we have the exact permissions put in place. It will be branded in your colors, and the workflow would be to meet and maximize efficiency for your specific needs. So first, obviously, is how do you get into the site? Obviously, there's going to be some sort of password controlled access, but we do have multiple registration options that we can set up. And then we would set up any number of user groups. So user groups are going to limit permissions for each individual user, so what they're going to see. So those can be segmented in any number of ways. So marketing and brand managers may have access to one series of products, and division managers another, and marketing could have another, and HR. So right down to the employee level, you can set up as many user groups as makes sense. And then we're going to take the user profiles and make the user experience as easy as possible. So wherever possible, we will pull that information and speed through the checkout options. Less clicks mean quicker checkout. Unlimited products and categories. So when we come in and we define what all of those marketing assets are, and we make that big sheet, then we can start deciding how is the easiest way to make browsing as simple as possible. Maybe we categorize it by promotional items and apparel and branch giveaways and business cards and print items. And everything would be searchable. So it would be a very easy browser experience. All of our sites are set up using a shopping cart functionality, so anyone that's ordered off any of the big e-commerce sites is used to the workflow. You go find your product, you add it to your shopping cart. You're either going to continue shopping and filling the shopping cart with more items, or you're going to go through the checkout process. And again, similar to the e-commerce giants, complete order tracking. You place an order, you're going to get an order acknowledgement, letting you know that that order is put into process. If there's an approval process, we can send a secondary acknowledgement, letting them know that the order is approved and now into production. And when an item ships, you would get a ship notification with a live link for the tracking. So you know exactly when it ships and when you can expect it to arrive. Any items that we have available on the site, we can make available both in print and electronically. So this often cuts print costs 20 to 25%, because if you just need 2 or 3 brochures, or you want to email a copy of a brochure to somebody, you can simply go to the site, grab the latest PDF file of that brochure and email it, or print a couple copies off on your office copier. You can easily customize products. So back to the Ohio branch manager that wanted to add his phone number and address, we could simply set up a template. He could go right into the site, put in his personal information, get a real-time proof showing them exactly how that's going to look on the brochure. We're going to lock down the branding, so the colors are still going to be exactly to your corporate specifications. And he could have had that done rather than when he needed it tomorrow. He could have had it in a matter of minutes. The nice thing with anything customized, not only is it available electronically, but you can order it in a smaller quantity as one. So if you're looking for a poster to hang in the window of a new special that's going on, or you want to advertise and job fair that's coming up, you can order smallest quantity is one, or if you need 500 customized brochures, that's no problem either. Inventory management. All items that are in inventory are tracked in real time, so you'll know exactly how many products that you have at all times. And as Mandy touched on, you can set reorder notifications, so you'll get a low inventory notification whenever an item falls below a threshold. So you're never going to be running out of inventory again. Every portal that we build is unique. So one of the things that we did for Visions is they wanted to track budgets and set budgets by users. So you can set budgets by users, and then there's a bunch of other controls that you can put in place. So admin can have access to replenishing those budgets as needed. So if it's tied to performance and a branch is falling below and you wanted to cut the budget for the next quarter, you could easily do that, or vice versa. If you wanted to increase a budget, you can do all of that in real time, and you can also decide how that budget is going to be applied. So a lot of what I've talked about today is all that front-end stuff of making the user experience a lot easier, allowing people to only have access to the products that are personal and relevant to them. But I really think one of the big values to the site is the back end and admin access and reporting. So now we're going to start building intelligence from the usage on the site. So the back end reporting is going to give you detailed reports of who ordered what, where did it go, how much did it cost. We can also do custom reporting, as we did in the case for Visions and many of our other clients. And you'll also start to get some other information, so average monthly usage, and from that you can start building optimal reorder points. So if you want to turn your inventory every quarter, we'll be able to simply do the math to tell you average usage points. And in the case of print, that often leads you to, what's the most cost-efficient method to produce a product. So low usage products we could produce on demand and not incur any inventory costs. And the high usage, big usage items, you could get some efficiencies by producing them according to usage. And of course, you'll always have access to a complete inventory also. So that's a real quick look of what a marketing asset management system or a branded storefront does. There's obviously a lot more than what I touched on today. With that, I'm going to turn it back over to today's moderator, Kim, and she'll take us through some of the questions that came in. And again, if anyone would like a more detailed presentation or something tailored to your specific needs, feel free to reach out to me also. Thank you.
Thanks, Tony. So we did have a couple questions come in, so I just wanted to handle those. Some of them might have been for Mandy, but we'll have you answer those. So one of the questions that came in was, how much does this system cost?
That's a typical question. We get a lot, of course, and there are some variables that are going to go into what a system costs. But depending on users, number of products, number of customized products, an average site is in the $3,000 to $7,000 range, and normal deployment is in the 60 to 90-day range.
Great. Do I have to buy all my products for Velocity, or if I use other vendors, can I integrate those vendors' products into the system?
Great question. No, you don't have to buy everything from Velocity. We understand it's a buyer's world, and we need to stretch as much money as we can in buying the product. So our goal is to be as competitive as we can on most products that we put into the site. But if you have somebody who has a cheaper item or a product that Velocity doesn't sell, we will definitely take that, add it to the site, and do the fulfillment on it as well. So you can also ship that right into Velocity.
Thanks. So how long, was it difficult for everybody to learn how to use the new ordering process if you have a lot of staff that orders products?
We, as part of our deployment, do WebEx training that goes with it. And when I started on these sites many, many years ago, it was a big process. Now I think everybody has ordered online, and since we went to a shopping cart function, to be honest, most of the WebExes that we do for training, a lot of people show up, and 5 minutes in we see them start clicking off because the ease of use is easy with the sites. But we'll do as much webinars and WebEx training that's necessary.
Okay, so we probably have time for, let's just do one more question. What kinds of products can I put on our portal? Is there a limit to how many or what kinds I can have?
There's really no limitation on what products we would handle fulfillment for. Obviously, Velocity's main product line that we produce here at Velocity are printing and promotional items and trade show products. But if you have something else that needs to be fulfilled, that is definitely not a problem. We can add anything, and there's no real limitation on products either. We've got sites with many hundreds of different products on it.
And Velocity will pick and pack all of the products that are ordered and stored here?
Yes, we pick and pack, and we also attempt to pack as much as we can together to get you the greatest efficiency in shipping rates.
Great. Okay, well, I think that's all we have time for today. I want to thank everybody for their time, and please feel free to reach out to Tony with any questions that you may have. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.